All right. So, what's up, YouTube people? I'm gonna have to start getting used to looking at the camera. So, we are going to be using DSPy in a Google Cloud CLI to do Dapr, and it's going to be cool. So, we got a couple people from the DSPy Discord, and we are going to ask them to join me on YouTube if they can. Got Dr. Vogel. We got Yuan, who I don't know his name. So, two guys. Hopefully, we can get them onto YouTube. But if not, part of the reason why we're making this tool is to get people on YouTube. So, enough about that. Now it's time to get busy. All right. So, let's share my screen. Screen one. All right. Cool. So we got that going. We tried our keyword stuff. Didn't work. We'll have to try more keyword stuff later, but whatever. All right. So we can go back up to here. So we'll start at the top of the conversation, right? All right. So statement of urgency. That is a, got to get used to doing the looking at the camera. I should have some picture behind there to help me with this. Anyway, a statement of urgency is a component of Design for Lean Six Sigma, which is something that I definitely adhere to, and it helps us focus on what we're going to work on. So I'm going to read the transcript for the transcription. Bear with me. Excuse me. Statement of urgency. Project. Deployment of microservices on Google Cloud using Dapr and OpenAI integration for multilingual transcription and translation to all stakeholders. Subject. Urgent need for deployment of enhanced multilingual transcription and translation services. Dear team, as we embark on this critical project to deploy our microservices architecture on Google Cloud with Dapr and OpenAI integration, it is imperative that we recognize the urgency and significance of this initiative. The success and timely deployment of this solution is not just a technical upgrade, but a strategic imperative that will profoundly impact our operational efficiency, scalability, and market competitiveness. Here's why it is crucial for us to act swiftly and effectively. Operational efficiency and scalability. Our current manual processes for managing and translating video transcripts are labor-intensive and prone to errors. Automating these processes with a cloud-native microservices architecture will reduce manual intervention. Automation will streamline workflows, reduce human errors, and free up our team to focus on higher-value tasks. Enhance scalability. Leveraging Google Cloud infrastructure and Dapr's service orchestration will allow us to scale our services dynamically based on demand, ensuring we can handle increasing volumes of content without compromising performance. 2, market competitiveness. In today's fast-paced digital landscape, delivering high-quality multilingual content quickly is a key differentiator. By implementing this solution, I'm already bored with this. We'll cover it as we go along in the So shout out to whoever's in the live chat. Thanks for showing up. It means a lot to me. Let's hide this. Oh yeah, we're gonna put this because we have double because the YouTube square is like really, really big for some reason. I don't know how to change that. So we're just gonna hide me twice. And actually it's interesting. This is Loom and then this is YouTube. So I think so let's see if this is yes, perfect. So on YouTube they get it right. This is Six Sigma. Six Sigma. The book is like 900 pages. All right, cool. We're on deck. So just got a quick text. All right, cool, whatever. We got plenty of work to do, right? Like there's no reason to talk about stuff when we can just get to work. Okay, so what we have is I was working also in another conversation where I was actually getting in on YouTube Data, Cloud Run, Secrets Manager, and Kubernetes Engine, right? So there's all this stuff to set up, and setting up stuff is always a pain because it means that if you don't know what's going on, you have a big road ahead of you. So that's where things like CLIs come into play. So we can look up, there was a GCloud CLI, Cloud SDK that somebody made, or I mean, it's basically a clone, a mirror of the cloud platform. So GCloud is a Python tool. So one of the things I recommend that you guys do is, even if you don't know the code or the programming language, just look at what the code is. So bats for you Windows guys. Sorry, I don't know Windows. So let's just look at install, right? So one of the things that it does is it sets up, these are environment variables. So whenever you see something in all caps and underscores, it's almost always an environment variable. Okay, so we're having to wrap a command. Okay, so this is basically, we've got checking for a root directory. Okay, now if you look at this, there's all kinds of ways to have to figure out directory paths. So that's, by the way, a big pain that you have to figure out is like, where is this being run from? Because then that affects what paths you have to use for different files. I'm using the fish shell. So yeah, this will limit scope, variable scope. So let's kind of start digging down. So one of the things that we can look at is the commit date. So 7 years ago, long time, 479 releases. So Google's been busy. So let's keep going in here. We're just going to find the root file and then leave. Okay, so GCloud main, got it. So we're in the GCloud main, command line tool. All right, so we got a bunch of logs, update check. They like doing this uppercase stuff. My guess is that this always looks like somebody that wasn't a Python programmer doing Python, or they wanted to act like a class. But no matter what, this is not Python style, so don't do this. You basically, that's the thing, is you can always tell when somebody that wasn't a Python programmer started programming this way, or they were like, yeah, no, we got to match it, make it match the other programming language. It's like, all right, man, whatever. Okay. So we got ML engine. So one of the things that you can see is that kind of, I can just tell that as they've been working on this, people just started adding stuff here, right? It's like, okay, and it, because we got the ML engine, we'll just put it in there. Container hub, put it here. And then big table is there. So it's not very organized, but that's just the way that things happen when you're programming a big project, is people just start stuff. All right, we're in our main. So we got our, this is a, doing this shows that it's, yeah, this is decorator. So we're looking at metrics. Okay, so metrics is like, we're, starting, we're keeping track of how long things take. Because one of the things is with metrics, you want to know, did calling the main function go from taking 1 second to 10 seconds? It becomes very important when you have a ton of people working on stuff, because one person might make it go from 1 second to 10 seconds, and they'd never know because they're not checking. So that's part of, operation. So anyway, really this looks like it's just, okay, so we have this context manager. Once we're in the context manager, the credentials, we execute the CLI, and then they keep going through it. And so we can look at one more piece. Where does it run? Not exit. Create CLI. All right, let's go find where create CLI is. Okay, from surface folder with extra surfaces. So we got this surface folder. Okay, subsurfaces to add. Dot path is calliope command, YAML command translator, calliope CLI. Never heard of it. Okay, so we got it's released. Okay, so we were kind of looking through this. Now we know that it's generated CLI. This is pretty cool. So we can now go back up to the imports and look at the imports. Okay, surface. We got Calliope CLI. We can look at Calliope. Calliope might have been the code name for this project before it got started. So we're going to look at CLI.py. The Calliope CLI API is a framework for building library interfaces. Okay, there we go. So we can go to, well, so the thing is, we look at this Calliope, it looks like, if you ask me, looks like they built their own framework. That's just my interpretation, right? And so one of the things that we're going to do is show you guys the pattern that I use when I think about these things, right? So for instance, DSPy versus DSPyGen, perfect example. So we go to DSPy. Okay. So for instance, getting started with DSPy, when they start talking about this, I immediately disagree with this. Not because they're wrong, disagree, but disagree in terms of what DSPy is about or what it is for, right? I think that DSPy is a framework for interacting with language models in a programmatic way, right? That frees us from text-based prompting to programming constructs. So that's a completely different motivation than what they did, right? But when we look at, because the thing is, I don't need to algorithmically optimize. I've never needed to do this. Now, I know I've worked with language models for a long, long time. So let's just say that I've already mentally algorithmically optimized. And one of the ways that I capture my optimizations is through custom GPTs. So if we go into here, and you look, I have, like, for instance, for DSPy signatures, I already have this, right? And it has optimized signatures in here. So I'm using GPT-4 to optimize anyway. So it's not like there's no optimization going in place, but that it's not the forefront. But that's just my opinion. Nobody cares about my opinion. The only reason why people would care about my opinion is if I can provide value, right? So what's the value I can provide? One, DSPy was developed by academics, which is great because they have all the time in the world relative to me to think about this stuff, right? They can think about all kinds of different patterns and stuff like that. Me, I got to get a job done. Me, I'm the first DSPy entrepreneur. I got to get my business going. So my motivations are completely different than them. But if we look at the papers, by the way, and I think it's important to go on this little detour, go to X archive and we go to DSPy, and we look at the paper. So this is the first DSPy paper that I ever looked at. And so, but here's one of the things I always tell you guys to look out for is if you look at the bottom of papers, a lot of the time you can see who paid for the paper. Yeah, just a second. Sorry, guys. Okay, papers usually here. Okay, impact statement. There's usually like a thanks section. Okay, it's not in this paper. This is not the main paper. This is the first paper I read, though. So we're gonna go find the other paper because it proves my point, basically. All right, view paper. Let's go down to the bottom of the paper. Okay, it's usually not the bottom, above the references type stuff. Okay, yeah. See, so this work was partially supported by IBM. So founding member of the Stanford Institute for Human-Centered Artificial Intelligence, right? That's who's paying the bills. Stanford University is paying the bills. IBM is paying the bills. Also, you got Oracle, Oracle, sorry, guys. Oracle, Virtusa, Cigna Healthcare, right? They also had a Azure Compute grant. So for them, compute is a very different thing than it is for me, right? They get to experiment with compute. They get to run experiments. They get to run hundreds of prompts and thousands of prompts and whatever. They're not footing the bill for it. You don't, almost everybody watching this, you don't have that luxury, right? Now, it's not necessarily a luxury when you think it, but you don't have that luxury, right? Quick shout out to the guys that are in the YouTube. Let me quickly put a link to that. Sorry, guys, just a second. YouTube, just a second. Chatman, me, home. Where's my thing? And so anyway, while I'm doing this, keep the momentum going. Basically, we don't have, right? Unless you're an academic, we don't have the luxury of the same kind of mentality or behavior that they do. But the problem is they're not to say interested, there's me. They're not to say they're not interested in it, but also they don't have experience in it. A lot of the people that are working on this are young. Um, so yeah, David, I'm streaming live on YouTube. If you're not like watching, you could probably just turn that on in the background.
Yeah, I'm watching the YouTube one right now.
Oh, okay. So
about to hit a block, which is why I joined, because I might need your help in about 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you know that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, basically, as long as it doesn't show any keys or anything like that, totally cool with me. I'm just kind of going through the history of some of these things right here. So then, but then if you look at other supporters of here, you got Facebook, Google, and VMware. And then even Omar is supported by the Apple Scholars in AI ML Fellowship, right? So Omar, I think he even now works at MIT, but we'll just go back at this point in time. So Omar is working for Apple, essentially, right? He may not be an employee of Apple, right, which is a different pathway, but Apple is paying his bills. Omar is eating either through a grant or through Apple, right, or through all these other people. So for them, for Oracle and Apple and all this stuff, they don't. It's not their bill. They chip in and all that stuff, but they can let the academics run free. So all that being said, I don't have these customers and I don't have these clients. I don't have any of these people giving me any money. The only money that I have is the money that I earned. And, I also have a wife that works. So that means that I have to optimize for expense, right? So, but again, that now goes from none of this stuff matters to me. That's the other part of it. I don't care about any of this. None of this matters to me. Another thing, though, that the challenge is that when you see the examples, let me undo this. When you see the minimal working examples, I don't care about any of this, right? Like I literally do not care if it can get the GSM 8K metric. Like it does not put food on my table, does not put money in my pocket, right? This example is not helpful. So one of the problems that people are having is they're trying to translate the academic paper and the academic work into a business setting. Another problem that the workers have is there's no correlation between how hard you work and how efficient you are and the amount of money that you make. Meaning that if you make your company 10 times more efficient, you don't get 10 times more money. Or if you save the company $100 million, you don't get $10 million. So that makes that kind of skews your a person, because it's happened to me, but we'll just say for you, it skews your perception because you're not sure. You're trying not to work too hard and you're trying to be good at stuff and you're trying to work, right? Like you're unsure because your motivations are not aligned with your reward structure, right? Now, one of the problems is, let's say you did get more money for a certain thing. A lot of people, this is just human nature, would stop working so hard because they're like, oh, well, I only want to make $100,000 a year, so I'll stop working now. So no matter what, the motivations don't line up. That's why I think the world has, a lot of the things like burnout and stuff like that is just because people aren't clear on what motivates them as well. So anyway, that all comes down to, and you guys watching this and all this stuff is Sean's opinion. Who cares? You guys do not care about my opinion on anything else other than DSPy, because that's why you're watching me on YouTube, right? So let's get to the whole point. Why are you watching this? Because I created a project called DSPyGen, right? DSPyGen is Sean's opinion made real, we'll call it. Meaning that this is me taking my work and saying the best way to create a DSPy module is this. So if we look at how much effort it takes to do DSPy, right? The init, I don't know if it works on Windows, so I need help with that. If somebody's watching on Windows, I really do need help because I don't have a Windows computer, so I can't test. Anyway, but I say this is what it takes to make a module. When you look at the official DSPy documentation, let's see what they say in terms of making a module. Tutorials. building blocks, modules. Okay, so their example is sentence and sentiment, right? Okay, so far in their directions for a module, they haven't even shown you a module. So that's one of the things that's confusing is they don't start off by showing you a module. They're just showing you some stuff. So here's another confusing thing, right? Is like these are modules, but these are not the modules that you write. So that's another thing is that, and then there's Python modules. So a lot of words have multiple meanings, which makes it very difficult. So all that being said, in DSPy, what is a module? This. That's it. You'll never hear me in DSPy talk about a module another way. Now, that's not 100% true, but we're just talking about within the context of the documentation that you see here, right? Generate a new module this way. You then want to use that module, and we can just common use cases, right? These are all business use cases, right? None of this is like 8-year-olds doing math. None of this is writing blog articles. Like these are all tasks that directly correlate to business objectives, right? So now let's just say that you need to summarize the Gettysburg Address for instance, you need this for a business blog, right? You need to do an Instagram post that has like Lincoln's management techniques or whatever. But anyway, I also created this pattern. So if you notice, text module, a text summarizer goes from here to text summarizer module. It's in DSPyGen modules, text summarizer modules. And then I created this pattern, in my opinion, right? Turned manifested. I say that if you have a module, it should have a function that is module name call. And when you call that, when you give it the properties that it's looking for, arguments that it's looking for, it does what you need it to do, right? I don't have to look up what text summarizer call does because, of course, if you're following my convention, right? If you're doing things the way I think they should be done, this is all you'll ever need to know. This is all your coworkers will ever need to know, all that stuff. Now, optimization and performance and all that stuff can go on under the hood completely independent of the work that needs to be done, right? And what value does that provide? So you can have your super smart person over here doing all the numbers and stuff like that, and then your super UI or UX or application guy doing their thing over there, and never the two need to meet. So you can also use other models like Grok. You could use Olama. And then here's what the modules look like, right? So this one, there's a signature. So this is, you use the signature generator, the signature GPT that I was talking about, right? The signature GPT right here. You use that. And then we can go back to the documentation. All right. So then we have this module, right? DSPy module. It's called module, name module. So Sean ran the PyTest. He did module new PyTest to create this. Now this has been modified. There's like other stuff, but basically you have that PyTest call. What does it do? It takes the argument and passes it in, right? All of this, also, by the way, all of this gets generated for you. You don't have to even look at what it does. And then it comes in with a test function as well. So you can mess around with stuff. And so that's where my opinion comes in. Now, all of a sudden, my opinion means something because my opinion will save you time. Here's some best practices, stuff like that. Shout out to Dr. Vogel. We're working on the blockchain stuff as we speak, Dr. Vogel. We're trying to get the blockchain node working on Google Cloud. That'll be where we host this stuff to start off with. So if you want to pitch in and help on that part, that's the other thing that we're working on this week. Basically, David and I today, tomorrow, Wednesday, we are focusing on getting the AI Command Center platform up and running. And basically from the AI Command Center, we can do all of these things. But the whole problem is we can't be doing these things by hand. So that's where David, who I think needs my help, and so we'll take a quick change over to David's world. And
I'm good. I'm making a different project. You can continue. I'll let you know in about something if you need help.
Okay, great. David's doing his thing. So what David's doing is he's using the Google Cloud, UI to set up all of these technologies, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm coming from the opposite direction. Now we've kind of gotten all the way, now that we've gone through the underlying work and we went through here, now we get to what I'm working on. And so we can go back to here. So what we'll do is we started off with the talk that I gave, the directions. Now we're going to get into like where we start hitting the ground. So first we have to get our browser to work. All right, cool. So we tried to do our random thing for the keywords, didn't work. We'll start off. I don't know if we're doing Hyperledger anymore because we're doing whatever the Google Node version is. So I don't know if that's Hyperledger or not. We can look. So we got Dr. Vogel on the side. So what I'll do is, since we're on YouTube, and this is the Discord. By the way, shout out to the DSPy Discord, all the homies on there. So that's Dr. Vogel, got you one. And so what we're doing is we are going to look at, let's look at what the Google, actually, here's what we're going to do. I'll show you guys from scratch. Watch this. So I'm going to move the guys back. So join us on the DSPy Discord, but also like check out the stream on YouTube. YouTube's where we're collecting a lot of different stuff. I did a Loom. So just to show you guys real quick, like how hard I work on this stuff before I even started getting to YouTube. Oops, I stopped recording the Loom, by the way. So yeah, it makes sense anyway. Before I even did my first YouTube video, I did 457 Loom videos. So that's kind of how hard I worked. Is I waited until I had done 450 videos before I started doing YouTube. And it's still a little messy, but we're on our way. So we're stopping the Loom recording, which is fine. All right. So now we're going to get to what we're doing. So now that we got Dr. Vogel here, so we're going to grab the AI command center, right? This is what we're making. So here's how I work, right? We're just going to grab this document I made. So just a quick shout out to how I designed this. My grandfather had a defense contracting company in the 70s through the 90s. And I found this NASA design book. I had all these cool like ways to design things for NASA. Let's find a good page. Anyway, how things needed to look for NASA, and so it helped me with my web design because I've done front end for a long time. Okay, so what it helped me out with was like how to lay things out like the NASA in the 70s. And the reason why I did this is a lot of people that are older remember using computers when paper looked like this, right? You got a piece of paper like this that would tell you what's going on, not like I always compare myself to LangChain, right? Like LangChain, look at this. Like if you're an older person with like eye difficulty and stuff like that, like this is very hard to reason about or understand what's going on. Not that an older person would be looking at LangChain, but just in terms of UI differences, right? This is stark. So anyway, we got all these features that we need to do. All of these features we need to do on Google Cloud just because it's what I can afford, but also I like it way more than AWS. That's my thing. Anyway, what we need to do now is say, because we have Dr. Vogel here, we need to say, I am using Google Cloud to implement the AI command center, period. I want you to research how I can use blockchain on Google Cloud to keep track of payments for the AI command center. So we just go straight to the source. Yeah, blockchain node engine. Perfect. Oh, okay, so permission blah. Okay, so then actually, yeah, so deploy Hyperledger Fabric through the Google Cloud Marketplace. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with a CLI to do this. So let's just say that it's like, oops. Well, yeah. Okay, so we got official documentation. I am working on a YouTube video where I want to show people how to use the DSPy framework and how to create a CLI to wrap these things. So how could I create a CLI that interacts with the Google Cloud Marketplace in order to set up my Hyperledger for the AI Command Center platform? Put the DSPy in there. Okay. Cool. So what we're going to do then is now we have more information on what we're doing. So one of the things is that I use this to iterate, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's up, Batman? Again, if you guys are watching on Discord, if you could jump to the YouTube channel and comment on there, that would really help me with our getting this to other people so that we can collaborate. Okay, so back to here. So deploy Cloud Fabric. And so here I'm saying, so the thing is that this is helping me code, first off, but it's also helping me ideate because, for instance, there's two ways I could have started doing this. I could have opened up the technology that I know that I want and start coding it, or I could see how does the AI think about it, right? What does it start doing immediately? And so what we can say instead, now that I know more about how to implement this, I can say, I want to use Typer with sub commands in different files, right? So now we're kind of getting more of an idea of the architecture of how to do this. And so another question is then, can we set up our Git repositories and Dapr this way? Okay. So it's interesting. Is that a real API? Yeah. See, so for instance, one of the things is it's thinking about Dapr init on my computer. I want to start it remotely and then have it run and say, I do not want to have anything running on my computer because I want to be able to set this up from a Docker container that is on the cloud as well. Period. Because one of the things that always gets tripped up is trying to get the, how to phrase it, trying to get from the local environment to the remote environment. So let's focus on the remote environment first. And so let's see if there's actually, so one of the things that you want to do is check to see if it's hallucinating libraries or not. So we're just going to say Google Cloud Marketplace. Okay, so for instance, the most recent Google Cloud API is 2018. That's not what we want, right? So we want to, you got some interesting stuff here, cloud. So that, so what we can say is, you are referencing libraries that do not exist, period. I want you to research the libraries for this project and provide executive summaries with code samples of each. right? Like I am saying, you need to show me, you need to research it, you need to show me tell me what it is, and then you need to show me how it works. So it's searching the web. Okay, so watch. So let's just try this now, because I don't believe that that exists, but we can just go to our project. This is DSPyGen is like our test bed, but DSPy fundamentals is where I do like the videos and stuff. That way we don't pollute the thing. So we need to do PA, or sorry. Yeah, see, so this pip add. So yeah, so let's now, we'll go back. So this doesn't exist at all, right? Okay, so issues with the billing account. Okay, well, let me sort that
John,
out.
I'm in the call right now.
Cool.
Not a big deal. I have another account I can use. I can set up everything up there. It's not a big deal. But later today, just fix that if you can.
Yeah, no doubt. So
Perfect.
that's the yeah. So you have an account that you're up and running with anyway, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So we're having a problem where in our conversation, it decided to come up with a library that doesn't exist. So let's go back to here and say, research a guide for interacting with the Google Cloud Marketplace through Python. Okay, so let's do let's look up the Google Cloud pip. Okay, see, so this Google Cloud, okay, so what we're going to do, let's see if Marketplace is on here. So Marketplace isn't even on here. Let's mark it. Okay, so let's Google Cloud Python. So what we're going to do is we're just going to grab this. So I don't think it's even possible to interact with, and we'll look at what it does in a second. So what we're going to do is we're just going to grab this, and we're just going to grab all of this. Perfect. All right, we got everything, right? So now that we have this, now we've given it our data that we want it to interact with, right? So let's see if this actually exists. Okay, so there is no, okay. Okay, so here's the challenge. How do let's see if we can find a blog article. Google Cloud Place CLI. Okay. Okay. So let's see if we can use this. So we're in the marketplace. We can go to guides. Well, first let's check to see if, let's just look at it and see if we have Dapr in here. No. Okay, so that's not in there. Okay, so at 69 cents per hour, we've got 69.69 times 24 times 30. Okay, so it looks like it'll cost us $500 a month to run our blockchain node engine on Google. Okay, not what we want to do. Not what we want to do at all. So what we can do is, now that we've seen that, what is the documentation? Ethereum. Okay, so that's what it is, Ethereum. Good to know. Okay, so I don't know what Dr. Vogel's opinion of Ethereum is. Actually, I don't even know. Like he's mentioned some technologies. Okay, cool, perfect. Yeah, no. So yeah, he says don't do the Ethereum. Exactly, we're not. That at that price, $500 a month, not in our range. So so I would definitely say to David to check check the price of what you are using before. I'm telling him Google blockchain node engine is per month and is F, which is not what we are going to use. All right, so I think now that we've established that, right.
What are you working on right now?
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the AI command center platform up on Google Cloud.
You decided to use Google Cloud.
Yeah. The reason why is because I have like my company emails through there and stuff like that. It's just a matter of, since I don't have anybody to help me other than David to set up like authentication and all this stuff, it was just taking too much effort.
Look at Coolify.
Coolify?
Yeah, Coolify. Check it out.
All right. Okay. So their cloud. Let's see their pricing.
I'm self-hosting.
Self-hosting. Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing about this is it's still a matter of I'm going to have to set it up. So the whole thing is that if I can get this whole thing up and running, I can get clients to pay. And once I get clients to pay, I can set it up on whatever thing, period. It's literally just a matter of I have to have something end to end. So that's why I'm saying like we're doing Google is it's just
Well, yeah. What I was suggesting is that you use Coolify to just easily deploy it to Google. So you can still use Google. You can use any other provider that you want. I just use Coolify in order to speed up my deployment process.
right. And what I'm saying though is that I'm sure it took you a number of hours to figure it out, and I don't have that time. So that's what I mean. Is not the problem that I have with the time of deployment or anything like that. I mean literally the time of integrating it so that it works so that I can show somebody. That is the number that we're trying to optimize for.
Oh, I got you. So yeah, once you get it set up with Google Cloud or whatnot, because that is a process in its own in order to figure that out, then all you would do is you would learn the Coolify process, which the Coolify process just makes it so you can actually deploy to Google Cloud, AWS, or whatever provider you want to use. But it would.
Oh no, I mean what I'm saying is I understand what you're talking about, right? Because the thing about it is, if I had time, I might just set up my own stuff on Elixir anyway, right? So it's just literally a matter of like I have to get something up and running so that I can start getting income from it, and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a horse on a wheel and a windmill or something. Like I don't care. It's just literally I need to be able to show somebody so they say, oh, I understand. That works when I click on it. I can now give you money for that. That's literally the only thing that we're optimizing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So this is we're making a sales tool, not a SaaS blockchain, all that kind of stuff, right? I like to call it it's like startup bingo or PowerPoint bingo, where it's literally like I need my chief marketing officer to be able to say, we have these things working. Somebody say yes, then we can afford to have people set these things up. So, but the thing that we were able to do is realize blockchain node Ethereum, not Dr. Vogel has vetoed. So we're going to pivot from that back to now that we know that isn't working, and now we know that ChatGPT can't figure out how to not stop using libraries that don't exist, we're going to go in the opposite direction, which is what we're going to figure out is the easiest way to get a Dapr installed on Google Cloud. So what I'm talking about is we'll say Dapr on Google Cloud, right? Dapr GCP. So what's great is we got set up a Google Kubernetes engine cluster. All right, cool. This is what we need. So the thing is that David is working on doing this from the UI. And let me make sure that he has this link just so you can see from the official.
So what I've been able to do is I've been able to bootstrap the DPTs, just kind of similar to what you do, but what I use is Clipper. I'll use Clipper in order to grab the doc. So for example, you're trying to do the Google Cloud integration, so whatever API that you want to use.
Yeah.
Into a GPT, and then use that GPT to call on those docs in a very novel way in order to answer the questions without hallucination.
Okay, can you paste a link for that to me? Because with the problem also I realize is that these things have so many names that are like I can't, from you saying the word, I can't trust that I know how it's spelled. How about we put it that way? So
You're right.
Cool, perfect. Okay, we'll say, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna ask perfect. All right, we got Batman, more links. He's always sending me links. Okay, so Clipper.js. Got it. All right. Cool. All right. So we can give this a shot. Crawling, we need playwright. We're not going to do that right now. We're going to, because this should be pretty simple. We'll just do it in this folder. So this is.
So what I usually do is I give ChatGPT the entire front page of the GitHub of the front page of the README Clipper, and then I tell it like, okay, I want to scrape the docs for Google Cloud so-and-so API.
Yeah.
That way it doesn't actually give you the commands to scrape the entire Google Docs.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to do it my way, because this is actually the way that like works for me. And I don't have a problem with it. We're literally just going to take the text that's up there and create a guide from it. So we're not going to like, trust me. So here's the thing about the process that you're talking about. This is kind of the DSPy thing, is the results that I get from this, your results might be, let's just say, twice as good, right? But the amount of time that it takes me to copy and paste this takes me a second. Whereas your method takes more than a second, right? And so that's what I'm saying by like, even the fact that it took that long to install and now I have to figure out and all that stuff, it's too long. I have to move through these things, if that makes sense. So we can, and this is where I have the homework from you. Like I'm like, okay, I got to go through these things that Batman's showing me. But what I guess this is a good lesson, like for the both of us, is what I'm saying is that I just don't have the time to be learning a new thing and trying to get this to work and learning Google Cloud, if that makes sense. That if I could delegate this stuff, that would be fine. I don't have anybody to delegate to other than David, and David's handling things as well. So it's a throughput problem, not necessarily a quality of the AI output problem. All right, so we got this, and we're going to say, can you create a typer CLI to handle this install process? And so then watch what this would happen. Create a function that wraps the sub-process run, where if there's an error, it gets sent to the OpenAI API to diagnose what went wrong and provide next steps. And what we're going to do is we're going to replace the OpenAI calls with DSPy and DSPy Gen. Yeah, so Paolo is on YouTube, and big shout out to Paolo. If anybody's watching and you see me live, just jump on and comment there. Actually, yeah, Batman, if you could go onto YouTube and paste that link, then other people from YouTube can like check that link out and stuff like that. So that's one of the other reasons why I'm starting the YouTube channel, is that people might come across these videos and be able to chip in. So it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, Batman has tons of homework. So if you could post your links in the chat or the comments, that would be really helpful. But no rush. You don't have to. I'm just saying that would be more helpful than the Discord, just because the YouTube is going to be bigger than the Discord for sure.
Oh yeah, whenever you get it posted, I'll definitely comment.
Oh yeah, no. What I'm saying is, like, literally, I don't know if you have a computer that can go on YouTube, but this is the live stream. I'm going to try and see if that link works. Could you try?
I didn't know this was a live stream. I thought you were doing a recording.
No, well, no. The recordings, I'm not doing Loom anymore. The recordings are going to be on YouTube now. So we've gone officially from Sean's private.
Oh yeah. Oh shit! I just wasted a bunch of water. Also, you can do Twitch as well.
Yeah. Well, YouTube is bigger, and YouTube has a better search. So I'm focusing just on YouTube, We'll get onto Twitch next. That is also on the pile of once I can afford people to pay people to help me.
There's a platform that can do simultaneous streams where you can stream to Facebook, everything and all at once.
I understand. But what I'm saying, like, that's a whole nother platform to learn. Does that make sense? Like, there's an operational cost to just adding these platforms on, and it's kind of like, I got YouTube. YouTube works, so it's good enough, and then we'll move to the next thing once we get there. Does that make sense? Can you return just the Python for what you've described? No other text. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. See, we got this. And so the goal is, next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a PyTests for this. I want to have PyTests before we move to the next thing, right? So that's one of the goals, right? Is before we move from this, literally this, what we're showing, we are going to have it work in PyTest. So that's kind of the part of the goal of what we're doing is we take this. So now we go back to our DSPy fundamentals project, where the CLI literally was just loading up subcommands. Now we finally have a DSPy fundamentals project, which we can erase. We won't erase. We don't need to erase it. But now we have something to work with, right? So we go to here. This, perfect. Now we have all of this. And we'll fix it. And so what we can do now, what's great is now that I look at this, now, shout out to Batman again, something that we talked about is cursor. So just as much as Batman has given me homework with his links, Batman's homework is to paste the links in the YouTube live chat. We'll see. We'll take a timer of how long it takes him to do that. So we'll set the timer right now. I don't know if he might have had to go back for work or all that kind of stuff, but we're going to take a stopwatch and start. Let's see if he's online. Okay, so we got Batman on the clock to see how long it takes him to put his links in the YouTube chat, and we'll just keep track of that every once in a while, see where we're at. All right. Well, so before we go to cursor, let's just keep chatting here because I know this. And again, this is one of those things, right? Cursor may work better, but I know how this works, so I know how to work with this. So it's kind of like cursor's good once I'm starting to edit, because this is not good for editing. But in terms of getting the first draft of these things, this is where what I know, right? And there's a value on what I know versus things that possibly could work. Because the problem is, if they don't work, well, then now I'm out that time. Right? There's no guarantee that it would work. So we got this, and we look at run command. Run command is always a list because it's always a string. So that's kind of, so run command is a list with just a string. Can you rewrite the functions where there is a type on each argument and return, period? Also, for the app commands, give a shorter name. Perfect. So now we see the command is a string. So this is one of the values of typing now, is we're not typing just for typing's sake, but we're typing to make the AI understand what it's doing better. And then also Paolo, if you have some links that you could share, that would be awesome. I'm totally interested in seeing what links you have to help out. So cool. So now we got this together. So now we can see that it stopped putting in a list of strings, and then it's just putting it in as a command, right? And we'll see if this works. So let's, okay. We're now going to create PyTests. I want to have a mock for subprocess, period. This mock should have a run command that has the same signature and typing as the subprocess run command. I also want it to fail if it is given the wrong kind of arguments. Validate the types of the arguments. All right, let's get really specific. So now we're going to use typing as a way to understand what is and is not working. See, so now we're learning. So here's another thing that I'm learning. Okay, so it can be a union string or a list string, right? Perfect. Perfect. Cool. All right, cool. So now we're going to go through it. We will go and grab our commands. Nice and shiny commands. So we'll get rid of these old ones. We're grabbing everything. Yeah, we're diagnose error and run command. We got a little overzealous. Are we doing app typer twice? We're doing app typer twice. We don't need that. We also already don't need that. We already have the API key in there, but we'll just leave that in there for anyway. All right. So we're not going to have this. Well, we will do this just in case. There we go. All right. Now we're good. Okay. So it did not give us short names, but whatever. We're not trying that part. So we can see invoke. So here it's invoking with the full name. We can change that, have it change later. That's not what we're testing. So now we have our CLI in here, and then we have our test CLI here, right? And so instead, we're going to just grab everything, right? So let's do this. So now we can do your module, which is DSPy fun dot CLI. Perfect. And then our subprocess mock should be in here. I think let's create a new module folder called mocks. Let's put it in there. What is called subprocess mock. All right, and then we'll say yeah, there we go. And then you can do the arrow click to see if we got it. All right, so now, okay, we need to import subprocess from subprocess. So now we're patching. So we need subprocess dot. So we look back over here. We want to do, I always call it apples for apples, right? So if we look here, we have subprocess and it's subprocess run, so it's the same import, so we're good. So this should work. Of course, should being the operative word, and we will do find usage. We will show context. We will reformat the file, fix our functions. All right, cool. So we'll start off with the top. Okay, cool. So subprocess run mock, and we can see by what we can check is we can check this, right? Because run command is supposed to be what gets called. So we'll see what you can do. Well, actually, you'll just see it when I run it. All right, so what you have is, you see how I can tell that it's a mock, right? Mock module, subprocess module, but when we look at run, it's mocked, right? So when we do this, we run it, and we get our test back, which is good. So now we know, because we also have this fixture auto use. So this is saying use monkey patch to port to subprocess it every single time, right? And then we can also look at subprocess mock and check the run function of it, right? Oops. The side effect. What is it? There. Okay. So then we can set breakpoints here and here. Okay. So we're going to run the command. It got inside, right? And then we're showing that we mocked it. And then what we're doing is we are returning the completed process, right? So that this looks like, if we're like checking for return code later, it looks like it works. All right, 9 minutes and Batman hasn't posted a link. We'll get him to switch over.
No, I posted. You gotta go. You gotta refresh
on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't see it. Well, I can't refresh because I think that'll end the stream. I don't see it. Can't see any links here. So I'll show you what I was looking at. This is what I was talking about in terms of comments. Maybe you commented somewhere else. That's all I'm saying. Ride the snake. Okay. Yeah. And Paolo, if you have some links to some interesting projects, like literally, if there's anything interesting that you want me to check, just paste it in the chat right now. So I guess I should say in the chat, not the comments. So maybe Batman using, oh, here's what probably happened. So Batman probably found some super awesome teleportation API that goes from like the other side of the observable universe to this side to paste the comment. So that way he didn't have to paste it directly. That's probably what happened. One day I will learn the ways of the Batman or Strutter, but today is not that day.
Yeah, I reek of junior developer.
Well, no, the thing about it is that that's the way well, the thing is, because you're a dad, I don't know where you find all this time, but that's the thing is that since you don't have your ways set, you don't have anything to gauge it against. Also, I don't know how long you've been a developer. But I've been a developer for 24 years. So I have a lot of experience of trying to use new things. And even if they're the best things, if they don't work at all. No, Paolo, like literally any links that you found that are cool, just paste them. Just, paste one, enter, just, as many as you want. Other YouTube channels, you can paste them in the chat as well. Just like if you have bookmarks, just literally paste all of them. It's not a problem. YouTube can handle the traffic, or if by you posting links in the chat it DDoSes YouTube, that would be a very interesting problem to have. So we're not going to do that. But we have this working. So now we have that working. Let's run all of these tests. Okay, so we got one that failed, the firewall one. Perfect. Okay, so now what we can do is we just give it the error, and we don't do any. We don't think about it. We don't do anything. So we'll see what's different. Assert any call. Okay. So that's another thing that I'm learning, right? I never knew about assert any call, but because I just let it do its thing, now I'm learning new things. So we can go to here. We'll just grab all of these. And well, and also let's think about it a different way. Let's think about it a different way. Is there a way to clear out the runs after every test? Because it seems like that would be polluted anyway. Perfect. See how now we learned a different way. This way. Now we'll see if the test worked from before if we change it to this. And this is kind of using the context manager approach. So let's see if the old tests run. Perfect. We got every single one to pass. So now what we can do is, instead of continuing the conversation, we can just go up here and pretend that it never happened. So now, so let's like review our work. We now have a CLI that can run all of these commands, right? And we have our subcommands as well. So what we can do now is let's start moving this stuff into commands by what we'll do is we'll call it we'll create subcommands called GC for the Google Cloud stuff, and then we'll create a subcommand called K8 for the Kubernetes stuff. So this is what that'll look like. So we can go to, we do DSPy fun command. It's a sub. Yeah, you can see how it does new PYD. So we can do GC, and then we call it, the first one that we want to have, we want to call it install. Perfect. So we need to fix, I think I fixed that in a different one. Yeah. Oh, no. And so we need to find schema extra. Okay. So that has been renamed to JSON schema extra. So the AI has trouble with the it has trouble with the difference between the AI has trouble with the difference between Pydantic 1 and Pydantic 2. And so the big thing about the difference between Pydantic 1 and 2, the big mistake that they made was they named functions the same as Python primitives. So for instance, it used to be like model.dict to create a dict, or model.json to create JSON. And that's a problem because you're colliding with imports and all this kind of stuff. So just a second, I'm fixing this up. There's a principle from the pragmatic programmer called no broken windows. And all that means is that I don't, just because if I find things that are broken, I don't like skip fixing them. So now when we create this new command, we're going to create K8 and see how the error went away. So it's like I very easily could have said, oh, skip it, it's not hurting anything. and that's what a lot of people do. But I'm not gonna do. So, 17 minutes. Batman has not figured out how to post in the live chat, which is not a problem. Just saying. Paolo also hasn't posted any links in the chat. So not sure if maybe he hasn't figured it out or something like that. I don't know. Not a problem. Everybody in their own time, right? Okay, so now let's get to the DSPy part. So now, well, first we have our subcommands. So now what we're going to do is we are going to try these commands out. So DSPy fun, then we can do K8 help. Okay, so we don't have, it didn't load the K8 command. Where did, well, it's here. Load subcommands. So we can do, oh, DSPy gen, that's why. Fun, then we can do K8 help. Perfect. You see now how it has the install command? And then we can also do the same thing with GC. There we go. No, post random links. It could be whatever you want. The thing is, it helps out the algorithm. That's why I'm doing this. Is just because, you know, having you guys help me by posting stuff in the chat, it helps. Yeah. Well, and I mean, you've used like tools that you use. I don't know what IDE you use, if you use plugins. Because here's the other way that you can think about it, and this is why I'm counting the time for you and Batman, is that what you have to think about, because this is what I think about, is that there's somebody that knows less than you do. So as far as they're concerned, you are the expert, right? So in my perspective, Batman is the expert on those things that he mentioned, right? It doesn't matter if he only knows how to do like one command. That's infinitely more than me. Another thing that you could think about is maybe there's like, you know, a 14-year-old kid who's, you know, hacking on some of this stuff, comes across this video, and the link that you gave them was the answer to what they've been looking for, right? That's how I was taught. There's a guy, Eric Thomas, who was like a big kind of guy in motivation and stuff. And what he said is that when you're doing a video, when you're doing something like that, think about like the teenager who's like lost and trying to figure something out, and you're the person that can help them get to where they're trying to go. So you can think about it bigger than just kind of yourself, because it's, you know, you really can be helping out other people. So that's kind of how I look at these things. All right, so let's start off with splitting these up. Well, let's turn it out. Let's create the subcommands. So this is where we can use cursor. Cursor is a IDE Batman told me about. That's a link, for instance, Batman could put up here, which would be helpful. We'll go to the open folder, dev. So for instance, you know, VS Code plugins and stuff like that. I don't know how to use VS Code because it's not as good as PyCharm, just saying. So any VS Code help that you guys have, any kind of PyCharm help, all that stuff is valuable. All right. Cool. So we're in the DSPy fun. Okay. So now what we're doing is we are grabbing the CLI commands. So let's split right. And we can, we'll start off with our Google, the first command is install kubectl, which is K8. So kubectl install. So we're going to take this command and we're just going to take this. Well, actually what we'll do is first we'll comment it out. That's annoying. I'm going to just keep my opinions to myself. All right. So we're going to comment it out. We're going to copy the code.
And I just dropped another one. Can you see it? I don't know if it's working or not.
I see Jay Guthrie said hello. Not in the live stream. What's up, Jay? If you have any links to help us out, please post. Hell, it could be programming memes. It could be whatever you want. Everything helps. Okay. All right. I got to go back to PyCharm. It's funny. It's like there's small stuff where I try to do it once and I'm like, oh, it can't do it. So we got to go back. So we're doing K8
earlier, and I did this time, but I think getting filtered out.
Oh, okay. Maybe there's something wrong with my side. All right, cool. No problem. I do have a content filter on so that like help me focus. So I highly recommend those, by the way. So for instance, also this run command, we're going to need it across files. So the pattern I use is I just create whatever it is, then tools in the utils folder. So we need CLI tools, and the run command now goes into the CLI tools. So let's see if the refactor can do this. Move to, well, let's try it. That's the other thing, right? Is we're trying out new techniques and new features and stuff. Refactor. Okay, so it moved it into the thing. It added the from, and then it, let's see if it's in there. Yeah, cool. So now we have a new, use the refactor. Well, no, we don't want to do the refactor because it does the imports dynamically. So we're not doing everything remove, but now we've got a new technique. Oops, let's go back. So we got this. So then we go in here, we do our run command. And why are we doing the run command again? This is going to be where we use diagnose error. Oh, we need to also move that. So let's move that. CLI. Where is it? We're going to say, because we're going to use DSPy for this, we just need to get everything set up first. So refactor. Slash CLI tools. And we can just double check that it made it. There it goes. So now they're together, and we can go back to here. And that means, cool. And it cleaned up the import as well. So we got that. All right. So we got our K8. So GCloud, we can just basically look at the prefix. Oh, well, and also we can create one for Helm because there's an install for Helm. So we do Helm install. And now we have a Helm subcommand. So then if we do DSPy fun help, you can see we have these commands that we added, but then now we're starting to have these subcommands that can help us out. So the timer was off. Batman hooked us up. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if Paolo did. So Paolo is going to get a stopwatch. He's going to have to tell us that he posted the links. Okay. So kubectl, fix dashboard. Perfect. And so the other thing that's going to be cool is we're going to be able to, oh, and actually we're not trying not to cut and paste because that'll break. Well, whatever. We're moving it anyway. It'll break the tests. We're not worried about that. We're going to have to fix the test anyway. All right. Oh, we already did it twice. All right. We got that. So we're installing K8, kubectl, and we can look up, and we got all of our stuff moved. We are deleting, so it doesn't matter. It's always in our local history if we need to find it. So that's another thing that I like about. So this is a perfect example. Local history, I can just look at all the changes. It's kind of like a git commit diff without me having to look at it. The problem with the local history for VS Code, for instance, is that it saves the file in the project so that you have to go and add it to your git ignore to make it work. That's kind of another example of PyCharm versus VS Code. It isn't like it's a vast difference or a huge problem, but it is another thing on my list that I have to take care of. And I'm trying to kind of give you guys the idea, like it's just this sheer amount of like little things, right? Like they call it like death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's kind of the way that it works. It's like I have things, everything gets piled on. Another good metaphor is if you think about it like with salt. This is a perfect example. Is imagine you're eating and somebody comes by and they drop a little bit of salt in your food. You're like, all right, cool, that's fine. Maybe you don't taste it. Then like 2 or 3 people do it, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to taste salt, even though there's a couple of little sprinkles. Now you have 20 people come by and sprinkle some salt on your food. Now you have a big problem, right? Now your food tastes bad. So it isn't necessarily that it's a problem when one person does it, because also one person doesn't necessarily see all the other people that are adding salt. But that's kind of part of being, like, I'd say, a business owner, is I have to be the guy that says, look, I can't have you put salt on my food right now. I know you only want to put a little bit of salt, but trust me, you don't know how many people have been putting salt in my food. So that's kind of part of how it goes. Now we back to this long piece, but I think what I want to kind of give you guys is a picture of like what entrepreneurship looks like, what these experiences are like. That way, you guys, when you have your businesses, you guys will understand and be prepared. Because like if nobody tells you these things, you're gonna have to learn them. And so this is, I think, a lesson, one of those lessons where it's like, I don't want you to have to learn it yourself. It's, if you start your business, you're gonna have to get used to telling people that you can't help them, you can't do this stuff. And also the other problem is people might see that and say, well, Sean, you used to be able to do that. Like, why can't you do that anymore? Is something wrong with me? Something going on? Like, what's the deal? And it's like, well, no, it's just I can't. So name, and so then it's also, I don't necessarily have time to tell you why things aren't going a certain way. So we need so the thing is, it's like the name create cluster is long, but let's just leave it at create, because we're going to assume that if you're doing Google Cloud, this is one of those other things in terms of naming, right? Is the name will show you create means create a new cluster. Sure, we could create other things, but within the context of the CLI, it means only one thing. So if all of a sudden there was a second thing that we'd need to create, then maybe we'd need to come up with a separate name. But this is where the optimization problem kind of comes in. Is create is to type is easier than create cluster. So let me optimize towards less characters. And then if I need to deal with the changing the name problem later, we'll change the name problem later. So just a trade-off. So we got, so we're just like literally naming it firewall, right? And subprocess, import this name. So we got this setup firewall, and then we get credentials. And for this, we can just call it name equals creds, right? Because it's creds. If I tell you that it's creds within the context of this command, it only means one thing. So yeah, sure, it could be credentials, blah, blah, blah. But these are the things that I'm thinking about optimizing towards. So I'd rather have it be short for typing and scripts and stuff than it be long and super descriptive, because the help is what you need to figure it out anyway. So we got this. We got our Helm command. Is that installed? No. We need install Helm. Oops. Def Helm install. And again, we need run command. Perfect. We'll clean this up. Clean that up. Okay. Now it's clear we don't need these. We're now starting to get into business. We need our OS for sure. All right. And we can delete this. We're not using it. Delete this. We're not using it. That. All right. Now let's check out our CLI. GC. Okay. So then now we'll start getting into the cursor now that everything's like moved and set up. So what we can say is we'll say create typer help for module. Okay, so here's one of the things is that right now this is redundant, meaning if we change the number of commands in here, we have to name equals fix. And the thing is, it's fixed because the help, even if it said fix dashboard, we'd still need to look at the help. So the thing is, we don't want to put commands in here because it's redundant. So we do this, and then we hit OK. Manage Kubernetes related tasks. Right. So now let's look at our help. Okay. Oh, it's not doing it because of the way that it's because we're loading it here. So let's do because we do app. So we do app add typer name. You see the name subcommand metavar help. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to let's go to here. And we can say to our command puller, we can say get the help as the doc string of the module file. Cool. So let's look at what it did. Perfect. See? And so I didn't know that you just do double underscore doc. Learn something new every day, right? So now let's check it out. Perfect. See? And the problem is if we add the message, it'd probably add it all here. So now we got Helm, right? So we can say oops, not that. But oh, yeah, that works. But we don't need to, so the commands part is redundant, right? So we do this. And then now as we look at it, it's, now we don't even need manage because that's redundant. So we can just delete that. And we just say Helm. And you don't need to say related tasks. We just say operations, tasks. Like I'm not super worried about it, but having something there is better than nothing. And one of the things that I learned that was just cool right now is that we can do that. And you notice also now it's starting to follow the pattern. So cursor is pretty cool. Shout out to Batman for that one. Are we using typer? Yeah, see, so also I don't know how it's doing imports. So now operations, so tasks is shorter than operations. But I like operations because tasks mean something very specific, whereas operations is kind of more of a generic term, I think. It's just one of those like naming convention type things. All right. So now though, we have a problem because all of our unit tests are broken, right? So now we need to go back, and if we run our unit tests, this is another reason why we wrote unit tests, because everything is messed up now. If we run it, they should all fail, right? It broke after the first one. It gave us a -2. which is the system exit code 2 failed. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Another thing, though, is that the run command is now in a different place. So we also have to check to see if we were referencing it in other places. No. Okay. So let's kind of go one by one. Or actually, we don't have to go one by one. Let's try out to see if Cursor can figure it out. So we go to tests. We're going to go to CLI. We're going to grab all these. We're going to say, all of these have been moved to subcommands. Please change accordingly. And what we're going to do is we do in here, you do at, then we do files, and we do K8 command. And we'll just do that one for an example. Cool. So it looked like it figured it out. Let's see. All green. So Batman gets another shout out. He's just racking them up today. We got 4 people watching and 2 thumbs up. And also, I don't know, Paolo hasn't told me whether or not he's posted a link yet. So it's been 12 minutes. So we'll keep track. We'll see if he's able to hook us up. I'm sure the streets are waiting. All right, we got our unit test. Okay, perfect. So what it looks like is that my I don't see links that get posted in the stream. So if you do, just let me know. Maybe just describe. Does it tell you what the links are? Or, you know what? Also, let's just say that you post the link as one, and then on the next one you describe like your experience with it or any tips or anything like that. Because I think that would really help me. Because that's what Batman was doing, right? He told me about the link, but then he also told me about how it works. So I think that'd be good. Anyway, all of our commands work. So if we go back over what we've accomplished, we've gone over we took the documentation of Dapr, we copied it, and so now let's go back over and we'll look through it one by one. Right. So let's go to create a new cluster. Let's look at our create cluster command and see how it worked. So create cluster. When we look at our commands, let's close all these, close all tabs and group. All right, let's see what it does. We have GCloud services enable container Google APIs.com. Cool. And when we look at, actually we can look at the implementation, because that's actually what we're supposed to, because what this is doing is this is showing that the call was made. Let's see who joined in on the shout out to Chirag. I hate getting people's name wrong, but shout out to Chirag joining us on Discord. We're on YouTube as well. If you wouldn't mind, just turn that on in the background. That would be really helpful. Get those, I think we're doing super well in terms of numbers. Like I'll show you guys some of the numbers behind the scenes. We'll make sure not, I don't think this will show any keys or anything like that. But if you look at it, right, already we've got 20 subscribers, 186 views. The 24 hours, that's the thing, that in the average view duration, right, is like people are watching a lot of this stuff, which is really cool. And then also if you look at the thumbs up that I get, you guys are really cool about that. I don't think I've gotten any dislikes on my content, which is pretty cool. We got 63 views on this one, which is good. We got the funny one. This one's pretty funny. But yeah, it's really cool. You guys are really, really helping out. check the live stream. We got the one we're doing now, and we got the one we did the other day. So big shout out to you guys. It's really cool. It's cool. It's exciting seeing what's going on. Like, because of you guys, like I'm already ahead of like I did the calculations with David. Because of you guys, my channel is already ahead of like 30 million people, like in 4 days. That's pretty crazy. That's the thing, is David was saying like, oh yeah, that's not really anything, like we can really get up there. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. Like I was saying to him, I'm like, there are millions of people that are struggling and this is back when we only had 10 subscribers, that are struggling. They're doing everything they can just to get 10 subscribers. So I'm super grateful that you guys are doing all this stuff. It's really, really cool, because like I always say, that by you guys commenting, you guys posting, you guys doing this stuff, that's helping out somebody else. So it's like, even if you just put in a small comment, that comment's going straight to, the biggest market for YouTube is India, by the way. So think about some like 14-year-old kid in India who wants to become a programmer, sees your comment, sees your link, and is like, oh, wow, I can be like that person or that person. So even if you're not doing the videos, you're contributing, definitely. So, all right, let's look at where we're at. We got our subcommands, so we can check our tool, our help. We got our help. Let's do, let's just, while we're doing this, right, we're cleaning up our side of the street. So we got this Pydantic. So we're going to use this. I'm going to say, go up, type our help for module. Cool. We're just going to keep that. Pydantic models with DSPy. DSPy. Oops. And if you're ever wondering why like things are disappearing quickly or changing quickly, I'm using Vi in the browser. Vi is very complicated, but it's very, very worth it. So I can't really go too deep into it, but it's very interesting. It's very kind of esoteric old time stuff. Oh, switching screens, which is on YouTube. Incorrect. Not sure. Is anybody else having problems? Oh, all you see is YouTube on. I'm not sure which part is up. Yeah, Vim key bindings. Is anybody else having problems seeing what is going on? Because I look at the YouTube stream and it looks correct. And then I'm looking at the Discord and the Discord is correct. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, feel free to check it out if anybody else can like help them out. Because I think it might be also, I don't know if you're watching on Discord, but it might be on YouTube. It looks right. Okay. So we got the help. We got the help there. Commands for handling Pydantic models. What create, generate, and that, and then subcommands, and then we can do up. No, that's not it. So what we need to do. So what's interesting is it needed a clue. It subcommands, commands for generating subcommands. And we'll just say generating subcommands. Okay. So now when we look at our help here, back to PyCharm, look at here. Perfect. Nice help, right? We can do GC help. We got nice like documentation. We can check K8. And then we got Helm. Yeah, Helm. Oops. That's not how you spell Helm. Oh, yes. Oh, sorry. I don't know how to make So we'll move this to the over here. Sorry, good point. I don't know how to make the YouTube smaller. I have to like set up. I have to set up streaming software and stuff, but I don't know how to do that. But so now we're good. Back on track. Thank you for telling me. We're now on track. So what I can show is just I was going through the help screen for the CLI. But so do you guys kind of see how like it gives a lot of context for what's going on, right? We're able to see like, okay, this stuff works. So now we can start actually running the commands. And what I'll do is this time we'll have this on the left, and then we'll have the browser on the right, because it doesn't really matter what is down here because we're working on this anyway. All right, so create a GKE cluster by running the following. Okay, cool. So let's try it. We got our GC command, and then we look at our help. So this is another thing. And actually, I have agents that can use CLIs. So this also helps the agents increment. Okay, so we have GC create, and we can just see what happens when you run it. Missing argument name. Okay, name zone project. All right, so this is another thing that we can do, because like I want to add features to make this as good as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to now create a project file for defaults, right? So let's kind of go into what I mean by that over here. So we're going to go and grab the error, and we're just going to grab it like this, right? What we're going to say is, and we can actually pull it over a little bit. There we go. So what we're saying is, I want to use conf z in order to provide defaults for these values. And I'll show you guys what conf z looks like real quick. Conf z, configuration management. So it lets you do configurations based on Pydantic. So I want to have the project file be YAML with defaults and types, right? So we can grab this and say conf. We give it the link so it really knows what we're talking about. Okay. So when we look, now we have in the type, it doesn't know where we have things. So we have to, so what we're going to do is we say, what is the easiest way to figure out the project folder of what we're doing in order to load the configuration? Okay. So here, right, we have this. So let's see if anybody joined into the, it's David. What's up, David?
I just got Dapr. That's all working now.
Cool.
If you want me to do pub sub stuff, if you want me to do server request stuff, I can start working on that. Or I could start, just from our morning meeting, you wanted to do Google repo stuff. And when I logged in to try and do that, actually, no, I didn't send you the message. Apparently that service is going down on, I think, the 17th of this month or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, June 17, 2024. If your organization hasn't previously used Google Source Repo, you cannot make or enable the API.
Okay.
So I don't know if that means we shouldn't use it or if we should use it really, really fast.
No. So then let's just use GitHub. Create a new GitHub organization. So basically since you set up your own version of this, I think it's a good idea to keep it parallel, because then also we can try to reproduce your setup steps using the CLI. So I don't know if you know how far we are on the CLI yet.
No, I haven't been looking at your stream at all.
Cool. So I'll give you a little quick preview. So what we have is we have the these commands. So it loads subcommands. So if you look at the subcommands we have a Google Cloud subcommand that has cluster creation, firewall setup, and credentials retrieval. We have install Helm, so we don't have any Helm functionality. Then we also have Kubernetes set up kubectl and set it up here. So we're going to get these working.
You're actually really close then.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that there is a Dapr workshop. I'm going to show you Dapr workshop traffic control service. So I want you to go through this Dapr. Hello?
You just cut.
Oh, well, he cut out. Okay, you're back.
Hello?
Yeah. Okay. So this Dapr workshop in Python, I just posted it on the. Actually, I'll post it in the YouTube as well. And I don't know if you've checked our YouTube stats, but we're kind of killing it. It's really exciting stuff. So I just pasted the Dapr workshop. So let me show you through it what it is. Okay. So basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be going through like setting up endpoints.
Yeah, you're back. Perfect.
So you're going to be setting up endpoints and there's like different services and stuff like that. So there's like SMTP, there's secrets, like basically all of these basic kind of, so that you can get this all running and tested. So don't worry about repository stuff because it sounds like you're able to just upload code. If we can just upload code from our local computers, that's the priority. But having you understand Dapr the way that I understand it is the most important part. So
you cut out when you were telling me what you wanted me to do. I saw the link you sent.
Okay.
Can you just repeat that?
Yeah. So I'll show can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, let me, if I can.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. Continue. Just a second. View my, I'm not going to curse because that makes it so I can't look at this computer. All right. So I'll be doing the presentation real quick. So if you go into here, it has, this is so funny. Okay. So I'm doing the Dapr presentation now. So it's going to take a second. I think the thing is that I can't replace. All right, never mind. It'll just do its thing. All right. So we got Dapr distributed application runtime components, sidecar architecture. So if you look at it, right, invoke, store state, publish, access secrets, and workflows. So these are the things that I was telling you about, basically, right? Because the thing is, if you understand how to get all of these things running, we can then build any application on top of this, right?
Nice.
And it can be in any programming language. It can be anything. You don't even have to be able to run the Dapr client. You can just make these API calls. And so got all these components. So that's the thing, is that there's like Google Cloud storage, right? Like some of these things, secrets manager, right? Cloud Firestore.
Okay, you've cut out again. So just speak and I'm going to watch the YouTube stream after.
Okay. So there's these components. So there's Google versions of each one of these, right? And so this is what I mean by like, I need you guys to set it up, right? Because then we can build applications. There's examples. We're not doing .NET, but here's the example that I want you to be able to do, right? Because this use case, it may not seem like it, but if we're able to do all of these things, this is actually how all these projects get made. Like everything breaks down the same way. So existing services, existing code, all that kind of stuff. So that's the basics. And yeah, that I think covers it. So I think David's internet is having trouble. The hamster wheel is broken, or I don't know what windmill he has providing his power. Yeah, David, you're the guy dropping in and out. So yeah, watch the YouTube, do the link, and we should be all good.
Sweet. Okay. I'll
Cool.
let you know.
Yep. All right. Bye. Awesome. So yeah, so basically to let you guys know what's happening is David's doing the by hand version, we'll call it, and I'm doing by the CLI version. Because if we can get it by the CLI and we can start building these commands faster and faster and faster, this will scale up. So for instance, also due to the way that I design this is we have GCP here. All Google Cloud commands are in here. The Kubernetes command. So we actually have, this is Google version, but we can then add AWS. So we can just add AWS command, right? Or Azure command. This is the way that I'm thinking about it. So as we're building this out, right, the amount of time it takes for somebody to set up a Dapr cloud goes down. So cool. All right. So now we're back to Conf-Z. Okay, cool. So we got this config, right? And so what we want to do is we'll say we already have the project file stuff. So the thing about this is it shows the path resolve parent. This is exactly why we have now from a previous video in our utils folder, we have the FS utils. And actually I'm going to rename it to path utils, but here we get the project directory and we have the absolute version of it. So we're actually now going to refactor that file real quick. Now that we've evolved, we now know that it's not FS, which is, I was doing Node at the time. We're just going to call it path utils. Path tools, I mean. And so that's the thing about a naming convention is when you see the CLI tools, there's no confusion as to what's going to be in there. Or path, you just can open it up. So it's the file name becomes metadata, meaning it's teaching you about what's going on. All right, so we got this, and we're now getting the configuration because as we started using it, and this is one of those they call it like quality of life, right? Is I don't want you to have to figure out the name, the zone, the project. Because if you think about it, right, this is the way that configuration works. So I think one of the things that I want to explain is from the book Pragmatic Programmer. Just a second. Yeah. Thing about YouTube is it shows the titles of things correctly. Where is it? Yeah, the Pragmatic Programmer. The thing about this book is it tells you the root reasons why to do these things, but I'll be here to teach you guys in real time. So anyway, if we think about this project, somebody else comes along that doesn't know anything about GC, doesn't know anything, but needs to create something, the options or whatever, but names own project. If there is no configuration, if there are no defaults, this person, every single time they want to use this, has to look up the name, has to look up the zone, has to look up the project. If it's not obvious where these things are, they have to do a wild goose chase. They have to find other people that know. They have to go on a board, figure it out, all these things. Or I can put it in the configuration. And then, for instance, if somebody else is doing a project, you just change the configuration, then everything else changes. Another thing is that the configuration, if it's a YAML, you could pull it from a service. Now, when this is in the cloud, you change the file, it changes, the Kubernetes can provide the values while it's going on. So that's the basic premise behind configuration. So the other thing about it is, sure, I could go and put in a static value and stuff like that, but we're trying to learn the right way of doing these things from the bottom up. We started from the bottom, now we're here. Which, quick, complete side note, there is the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake beef. I live in Los Angeles, and it is very serious business. I was listening to this radio station called KJLH in Los Angeles, which is the African American radio station. Usually plays like soft music and pop, kind of oldies, stuff like that. They were playing Kendrick Lamar on the radio, and I told my wife something like my jaw could not drop any further. Anyway, tangent over. That one's for the algorithm. So now hopefully people searching for Kendrick Lamar and DSPy will get this video. Or actually, you know what I'll do? In the chat, I will do at Kendrick Lamar. No, it doesn't work. All right, we'll skip that. Anyway, shout out to Kendrick. All right. So we're doing our configuration file. So we'll start off. Can you create a step-by-step tutorial for building this now that we have the values figured out? It's going to be for the entire project, not just for Google. So call the config file config YAML. And what we'll do is we'll just grab the code and we'll just say, what we'll do is we'll grab all the code and we'll say we need defaults for all of these things. And we're not even going to read the code. That's one of the things is I grab this. I'm going to say, we are going to need defaults for all of these commands. Right, and we're just going to help it out, Python. And what this does is this provides context. So we got the GC, I grab this, right? And then we got the K8, and we grab this. Now, not all of these need commands and stuff, but we wanted to give the chat the context, the understanding. So now we close it up. Okay, so now we'll add conf z. So we'll do this. PA, all right, sorry. PA, conf z. Perfect. Okay, we already have Typer, OpenAI, and PyTest, right? So now we need to do config, directory config, right? And so now we're going to need a new folder. So we're going to need to go to our path tools, and we're going to need to do, we're going to go to here. Config, dir, return. Just as simple as that. See how I was able to kind of figure it out as it went along? Okay, so now it's just completely kept going, which is funny. And the thing is, it didn't, so you can notice now, this is what, so I'll show you guys, this is actually interesting that it showed it, is I instead do this, and subcommand directory is gone. That's not correct. CLI tools, path tools. Okay, something's wrong. Okay, so anyway, we can do though is we can move this, because we're using subcommand directory, right? We can now move this into, we'll refactor and move this into the CLI tools now that we have folder that we have. So we can also refactor, move, and then we can do utils / CLI tools refactor. Okay, now super clean, right? Now we can go to our CLI tools and see needs the subcommand directory. And there we go. Now we're importing app here. So the thing is that what we might have is a circular reference. So let's see if we have a circular reference now. Watch this. So if we do fun help. Okay, yeah, see, most likely due to a circular import, right? So how do we resolve that? What we can do is in the CLI tools, we just go and grab this. So the app, this is what's causing the circular import. Because if you look, we have CLI app here, but then if we go to CLI, we have load commands, right? So what we can do is in here, right above it, we can import it. Because, and then let's see what happens now. Cool. All right, so FS tools. Oh yeah, we changed the directory. So it's path tools now. There we go. So now we run it. Now we're fixed, right? That's a pretty big one, actually, that I think should help save a lot of time. Okay, so we got all that running. We got that CLI tools. So then, like when you look at it, right, our app is very clean. I mean, that's API, sorry. Our CLI, very clean, right? We're just running the app and we're loading all the commands. This is the goal, right? Now we can, if we have diagnostic stuff, if we need all these things, we can keep them. But then we have it very, and one of the things that I want to mention is I did not like prematurely create these. I only created them when I needed them for very explicit reasoning. Okay, so now though, we changed a lot of stuff. Let's see if everything works still. So, or at least tests pass. Tests all pass. See, so that's the whole thing is now I can be comfortable that all of these now work, right? You see how it's invoking the app GC. Now I can be very comfortable with all the changes of stuff that I made, that it still works, that it's not broken. So now we were working on our config. So we got our we're going to find our config file, conf-z, right? And we go to okay, DSPy fun init. Okay, yeah. So this init file, this is the first thing that gets run. So watch this. We're going to do print DSPy fun package loaded, right? So now we can go to here, run it. See, package loaded, the first thing. So what we're doing by adding the definition of our file, okay, that's weird. Why is conf-z imports wrong? Okay, base config. All right, so it made this, it was incorrect, right? So let's go back to here, quick start, more config. We're just going these, and we're going to say, look, review the documentation for the library, period. Make sure that you follow the most recent version of the documentation, which is what I've provided. Return only the correct YAML and class definition for the import. Do not include any other code, right? We just want to work with this right now. Okay. So we're going to grab this. This is our config file. DSPy fun config.yaml. Now, one of the reasons why you might say like, well, that's redundant and that's redundant. You combine the two, it's unique, right? If I just had in here config.yaml and I did a search for config.yaml, I'd have no idea what that meant. If I did a search for project YAML, I might not understand what that meant. I would have to know the directory that it was in to figure out the context, right? And that means that it can be separated. Whereas if I call it DSPy fun _config, no confusion, For the DSPy fun project, it is the config file. You don't need any other data. You don't need to figure anything out. It's all there. So it may look redundant. Your brain might say, oh, well, it's redundant. That's too much information, or it can be more efficient. True, but you want things to be it's called the single source of truth, meaning that this name is the only place where you get naming for this file from. One place. Now, if it was config.yaml, that means in order to figure out what that file is, I'd need a second source of truth, right? Now, let's just say I did a global search on my computer for the DSPy fun config, and it was just named config.yaml. All kinds of different files might come up with config.yaml, and then I'd have to figure out how to search there. Another way that you could think about it is if I had to write a program to find the file, how easy would it be to find anywhere on the computer? So if you think about it, I need to write a program to find the DSPy underscore. I need a program that finds the DSPy fun config anywhere on my computer. Well, if it's DSPy fun underscore config.yaml, that is all you need. I run a program that searches the entire computer for DSPy fun underscore config.yaml. If I don't do that, if it's just called config.yaml, I'd have to do an entire search of the computer for every file called config.yaml. Once I had that file named config.yaml, I'd have to check every single one to see what folder is it in, or what project is it in, or I'd have to look into the file to see what text there is, right? Each one of these is adding a step that can add a lot of time. So it's, you could also think about it as the big O notation, right? It is big O1 or big O, well, it depends. It's a big O-N if it's the finding by the straight up name, DSPy underscore dot config, right? Because no matter what amount of files there are on the computer, it takes the same amount essentially to find the file. But if you're using multiple names, it's all of a sudden you're adding another step to it. Now it still would be big O of N, but it's adding in terms of complexity of the code. You, let's just say, had to double the amount of code. And again, to go back to where we started, it may not seem like a lot, but you put a little bit of salt in your food, you don't notice. Put 5 shakes of salt in your food, maybe it tastes right. You add 50 shakes of salt to your food, now all of a sudden it makes a difference. So, all right, now we can go back to our file. So did we put the text in there? We did. Perfect. Now I have our config file. So now we go to inside of the init file. We can now put this. Perfect. All right, cool. So now project Deer, we don't need to do it that way. We can just use project Deer from our tools. And the question, well, why not? And let's just more actions save this. Why not use their version or whatever? Well, this project Deer, if you're using this, we can then make it, we can change it or do different stuff with it. So anyway, and also now that I remember, if we go back to our path tools, this is actually a better run, is we have config Deer. So the other thing is I could add logic to change it with this. So this is a perfect example. If I wanted to change it, to change around the project directory to have multiple places, if I change this, it would behave differently. But if I made it here, all I have to do is change this. I can change it to whatever I want. I can move the file around. Doesn't matter. It's only here, right? So we now have that. And so we use this. And we just have to do this, this, and we can remove this. That's another aspect of it, is that having that slash in there might mess things up for Windows, but having it this way does not mess it up for Windows. So that's another thing that I have to consider now. All the WinBros showing up, now I have to figure stuff out. Okay, cluster name zone project ID. So now let's look at how to, what we do is we grab the project name, the file name. So we go to where we're going to use it. We look up right here. We grab the absolute path. So what we're doing now is we're giving the ChatGPT an understanding of where this file is. Just a second. Sorry. Copy path reference, absolute path. So here's the thing. Now it knows on my computer where it is, right? It knows that I'm using a Mac because this is how Mac names stuff. And it knows exactly what my username is. And it knows I'm using a dev folder. This is the pattern that I always use, by the way. And then we have the DSPy fun, and we have all this stuff. So now we're there. Now we can say, we can grab this code, right? And so now I can say, change this code to use the config values. Okay. Cool. So from the import, so let's see if this works. Perfect. So let's click on it. It takes us there. So now it's in here. So what we can do is now we'll leave it like this, which is fine. So now we go back to here. Sorry, I'm jumping around. We were in the GC. All right, cool. So we're in the GC, and let's see how it named things. So it now has type or argument. Perfect, right? So now we can do this. Oh, create cluster. And we need config. Okay. And when we look at this, it's show contact section, fill the paragraph. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to fix this. There we go. Nice and clean, right? So another reason why I don't put in here the arguments, like documentation for the arguments, is because if it changes, then we need to change the documentation every single time. And so we're duplicating work when we don't necessarily need to duplicate it. And so we're creating the GKE cluster. We can also add here, just to make it more complete, zone and project. Cool. So then we go grab the next one, set the firewall, set firewall, get credentials. There we go. And to follow that convention, we go here, enter, and enter. Right? Nice and clean. So let's see for the other ones if we need to have, nope, no defaults. We check Helm, no defaults. We're all good. All right. So we're back. Now we have our config. So we can also check to see if the config is there by doing this. Okay, you do that. Now we're going to go to GC. Now we go to GC and let's look at which ones have the GC create. Perfect. See now we have these defaults. Perfect. And we can look up firewall. Right. And so we can go to DSPy fun config and say Sean cluster. See how it changes now? So now this could also be loaded from a web service in, for instance, Dapr secrets and have this value. Or you just change it on whenever you get the file from Docker, right? So now we can keep this completely dynamic. Nobody has to figure out what the name is or anything like that, right? Now, if they need to use something else other than default, they can. Nothing's stopping them. But in terms of like the default. So, and now we have all these things set up for us. So now we can go back and let's run install. So we can do DSPy fun GC install. Let's see what happens. Yes. No, sorry, Google. I don't. Okay. So let's see. Anybody joined? What's up, Yoshi? Yes. Yes. Sure. So Yoshi, we're on YouTube. If you could go to the YouTube and just say hi to everybody, it would really help me out. Let me give a link to the stream. Just a second. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Not sure how to get what the streaming link is. That's not it. Oh, well, I'll do what I can do is I can get the channel. So, and I have people that'll help me out. But if you want to go here, that would really help me out. Cool. All right, back on track. So we've got that installed our SDK. So it may seem like super simple that it just ran only these 3 commands, but think about like how opportunity for me to get this wrong or have to figure that out. But if we look back over here now, we're all done. So now if we do GCloud, perfect. Right? GCloud now installed, just like we planned. All right, so now we've got create cluster. So let's try cloud. Or no, we don't need to do GCloud. We do DSPy fun. And the name of the thing is create. We do create help. And this is the one that has the defaults. So I think I'm going to check my Google Cloud console over here. Cloud. Okay, I'm not gonna. I always forget my password for my business Google account, so I'm not gonna fuck around with that right now. So we're just gonna. All right, we're gonna just try the create, and it's gonna break, and we're gonna see what happens. Okay, cool. So. Oh, AI chat completion. Okay, perfect. So all right, we're now at the DSPy segment of the show. So what we're going to do is we API removed in V1, right? No longer supported. So perfect. Now we're at the part where we're finally going to add DSPy, right? So we got our modules. So we got let's see which module. Okay, so this is something that we were creating with somebody. Different video. All right, so let's go to what the hell? This Y. Interesting. Oh, I guess it's installed it in relative to this project. So let's just, what we're going to do is we're going to add the Y folder to our git ignore. That is a thing we'll have to figure out later. So now Y folder is in our git ignore. Excluded. Okay, so we got that. Just, I don't know what happened, but we'll figure it out. All right, we need to, well, first we'll start off with basic DSPy. Always that first. So we will go to our utils, CLI utils, diagnose error. So that's the whole thing, right? We have to do all of this stuff. So what we can do is instead, we can do simple as possible. Return DSPy dot chain of thought. We'll just go straight to chain of thought because we wanted to think about it. And our thing will be CLI error. And then it's sys dot forward error CLI possess an error message. Okay, perfect. Let's see how that works. No language mode. All right, we got a Sean Chatman video. All right, so we're just gonna init DSPy, and we're gonna use the fancy model GPT-4. And we're just gonna import it locally like that. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do, diagnose error, comes in, prints error command, failed with exit code 0. Okay, so we're not sure. I'm not sure if this DSPy chain of thought forward returned anything. So let's just do diagnosis equals print, and we'll do F. This then will return diagnosis. See who joined up. Oh, Elsie, good to see you.
Yeah.
So I am working on. Is right now our team meeting? Is it 1:30 or 1? Well, anyway, we're doing a live YouTube. I'm building tools that are going to help you and us and everybody do our jobs. So hello, Infinity. Because basically what I realized is that, you need help figuring out what to do. Everybody does. I can't tell everybody what to do. So let's create tools to do that for us. So that's what I'm making right now on YouTube.
Okay, sure. I'll call you in 30 minutes. I just saw you that you're streaming. I just wanted to see.
Cool.
I'll be back.
Awesome. All right. See ya.
See ya.
So Elsie is our business operations manager, and she kicks ass. So I'm sure you guys will meet her as you go along. Cool. All right. So back to the subject at hand. Okay, we're trying to diagnose the error, right? Okay, so So there you go. So if we look at the init DSPy command, the default tokens, the max tokens, 800 is pretty low. So, and this is like super, this is correct, meaning it is the error, but it didn't diagnose it. So what we're going to do now is that this is kind of how it works with DSPy, right? We tried the super simple version and we got our answer, but this is not good enough. So let's go now to, we're going to just grab all this code. We're going to go to my signature GPT and we're going to say, I need you to create a signature that will return diagnosis information with specific CLI commands to help figure things out, or links. Links aren't very good. Or try ideas that a Google Cloud systems architect would provide. There you go. We want to simulate, tell it to simulate the Google Cloud systems architect. So now we gave it the so it did. So we so we're gonna just take this and we're just gonna create the class. Okay, so we don't need this because we only get the error message. So error message, then detailed diagnosis, and recommended commands. So let's do this, right? And so then we'll print diagnosis, or this is, we'll just call this response dot diagnosis, and then we're going to return F. There we go. Perfect. And the type returned is str. Perfect. Okay, so then, yeah, string error, diagnose error, right? Print. Okay, string. It wasn't. Oh yeah. So you see, it wasn't printing. So that's why it was like, oh, like why was it blank? Because it wasn't printing. And we're also going to turn up the max tokens to like 3,000. 2,000. We don't want to flood it. So there we go. And now we can run it again. Okay, prediction has no key diagnosis. Oh, okay. So we weren't using the signature. There we go. Okay, now we run it. Error message. Oh. Okay. And so then we can say print diagnosing error, or actually diagnosing error with DSPy. And so the dot actually serves a purpose. So this is called an ellipsis. An ellipsis means that the like sentence kind of like the story hasn't ended, or it kind of fades away. So it's like meaning like this is fading into another answer kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, wait. Looks like it's running it twice. Okay. Okay, it looked like it ran it twice. Let's figure out why that was the case. So we will look at the GC create. Oh, it's running 2 commands. Okay, so run commands. Oh, accept process error as E, diagnose error, and then we want to kill the script if the command fails. Yeah. Okay. So actually, what we can do is we can do clear. Perfect. Okay. So now we got this great stuff. Okay. So there's Rich. That's exactly actually what I was thinking. So Paolo, one step ahead of me. So we got, and actually we have rich print here. So actually we are using rich to print. I don't know why it isn't printing the, oh, it's because it's got the string in it. So, I mean, the string is in it. So we'll just take this out. And this is out. Okay. And to figure this out, we can go click into it, print rich, print JSON. I think we might have to do like print markdown. No, let's try this out. Okay. So yeah, we have to look it up. We're going to change it. We're going to say, we're just going to say have, oh, you know, we can actually, okay. Paolo hooking us up. Big shout out to Paolo. Let's see what he pasted. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Perfect. So I think we just need this since we already have print, but we can check. Does it use, does rich print use console.print? Yes. So actually we don't, the console is redundant, but we do need the MD, the rich import markdown. All right. So MD. Yeah, big shout out to Paolo for helping out in the YouTube. Because that's the thing is I'm looking at the YouTube for the help. So if you're putting stuff in Discord, I'm not necessarily going to see it. So we got the we're doing our markdown. Print equals all right, now we're going to see what it looks like. Dope. Looks good to me. All right, so error indicates command. Cool. So this now gives us more commands to run. So this is like the exact part of what I was trying to show, right? Is like now we're picking up some speed because we can now create these commands. We can now create these commands. So let's do, so let's grab these. So we're going to just literally grab all of this, go to our ChatGPT, and then we're going to grab all of our GC code. And so, and we're going to say, can you create new commands to help with the diagnosis following the pattern of code that I have shown you exactly? Cool. So far it looks like it's keeping the same structure, the same order, I mean. New commands for diagnosis. Okay, perfect. And so the thing is, it's not using our defaults, but that's fine. So what we won't like super be crazy about it. So we can take it and actually, no, we will make it use the defaults because like retyping it would take probably longer. So I want you to use the default values from the config. Oh, and what we can say is another one. Just return the code for the new commands. Perfect. And actually, let's keep the function names the same, but the names in the CLI should be shorter. Perfect. Perfect. So now we have all these beautiful new commands to try out to help us debug, reformat. Okay, so now let's try out our new commands. So first, we'll start with our new commands. So project. So we can do DSPy fun GC help. Perfect. Now we have all these awesome commands, right? So we've got, let's try login first. DSPy. So let me change my fish config. I don't want to show it, so I'm going to just do it on the side. So we're going to do all right. So I added some aliases. So now DFN. Oops. Just a second. That's strange. Huh. Sorry, guys. I can't show you me trying to figure out the fish shell just because I've got like my keys in here. So let's we'll cancel this. So we'll do DFN. Oh, we're in the wrong project. That's why. Okay. So what we need to do is remove DSPygen. And then when we do a new shell, DFN. There we go. Perfect. So all I did was I did in my fish shell, I did alias DFN equals DSPy fun, basically. And so that makes it a lot shorter to type. Let's see. All right, cool. So we've got, so now we can do, let me check, make sure that we're good on the YouTube. Yep, we're good. All right, cool, perfect. All right, so we have DFN, GC help, right? So let's do DFN login, see what happens. Oh, GC login, GC. Okay, gonna have to go to a different screen. Sorry, guys. Okay, I gotta move this over too. That shouldn't have shown you guys anything. Okay, cool. Project is none. Okay, so setting the cloud project. So let's create a list of projects. We'll create a list projects command. Oh, and here's a funny chain of thought, right? A problem I have isn't that I have too many people trying to hack my Google account. It's that I don't have enough people trying to hack my Google account. And what I mean by that is like, I'm not popular, right? So I could be super stressed out about like my keys or things like that. But it's like, you know what? Maybe showing my keys too much to start off with, because these will change eventually. Then, we'll get there eventually. All right, cool. So we need a command to list our projects. So we need to go here, this. All right, we're back over here. Let's close some of these that we don't need. All right, so so then what we're going to do is we're going to take this message, because now we're also giving it my email address, so it's now learning. Right, the recorded videos remain, but if I change my keys or I change my accounts or I'm broke or whatever, it doesn't matter if, no, you don't have to delete your message. It's a good message. So don't worry about, yeah, no, it's fine. Like it's a totally valid point. What I'm saying is that by the time I'm popular enough for people to see these and want to hack in, I'm already gonna be popular enough to have changed the project. So they can find this later and then look at it, for instance. So I think I need a command to list the projects that could be chosen. How about the set command uses a menu so that I can choose from the existing ones instead of it just being I have to type in the name, right? Okay. So we'll start here. and we'll just add it, and we won't make it too hard. We'll just have it list. So perfect. See how I'm able to get these going? So now that I have the list of projects, so what we can do now is fetching the list, and then we have inquirer, which we need to add. So PA inquirer. And that's the other thing about people that want to hack the accounts is like, just talk to me. I'll give you access. If you want to do some work on my account and make stuff or whatever, yeah, let me know. We'll figure something out. Now we have an inquirer. So we need to add the import. And then we add the list command. And we'll just call it set. And then we'll create set project if we eventually need it. But right now, set works. So gfn set. Boom. How's that? Victory lap. Okay. So then what we also want to do is then change the project ID. So let's say this. Can we now change the project ID in the config file so that it's used as the default in other places? So let's see if in the confz set. Oh, okay, that's, yeah. All right, so we're using compz, so we actually need to load the YAML file and change it. So we're going to grab this, we're going to copy the path reference, absolute path, and then we're going to run this, and we're going to say, we're going to give it this, and we're going to say, I need you to load the YAML and change it. So we don't need the load command because we'll already have that, I think. Perfect. Okay, so then we have our save. And so then we'll just start there, right? So what we'll do is we will grab the save command. And what we can also do is look at the source of our config file and see if it has a set command already. Change config sources, base model, frozen true. Oh, cool, team meeting. Hello? Hello? So Elsie's muted and David is ringing, I think.
I'm here.
Cool. Awesome. David, you're here too?
Hey. Yep.
Cool. So we're going to be on YouTube showing this stuff because want other people to feel included. If you want to be in on the team meeting every weekday at 1:30 Pacific time, just let me know if you want to be in it. You do have
I'd love to.
You do have to contribute to the team, though. It's not like you're just going to come in and say hi, but we could use all the help we can get.
Perfect.
Cool. So want to keep it short. Basically, to fill in Elsie, we are doing a tool to help. The start of the tool was to help us get people coordinated to do YouTube comments. David told me that the most important thing we can do to spread the YouTube channel is get comments from people. So we have the chief marketing officer, Alan. We need to help him to coordinate his, I guess, I don't know how to phrase it, the marketing alliance to get those people posted, all this stuff. We're now at the point where it's too much for us to handle manually. So David and I are biting the bullet, and we are going to make this entire agent system, Dapr, Google Cloud work. And so to do that, we need to come at it from different directions, right? So David is working on the manual side, like interacting with the Google Cloud UI and using demos and tests and stuff like that. And then I'm coming at it from the angle of a custom CLI that makes everything super easy, is super optimized, opinionated, all of that. And so the goal is by the end of business day Wednesday to have this up and running. So this is the only thing that David and I are thinking about. So for you, Elsie, I have a list of people that are on Loom that are have been watching my videos. Like I have 450 Loom videos. I want to be able to move those people to then subscribe to the YouTube channel. So I'll give you a list that's 40 people. So just the emails and making sure that they sign up and stuff like that. I think that would be enough for you to manage until Wednesday.
Okay.
So I think that's that. And then so David, if you have like a quick update, or Elsie, if you have a quick update.
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. Sure. So just a quick overview of what happened in the past days from last week. We're setting up our tasks and our shared calendar. So I just wanted to let you know, guys, that I need a little bit more of information from your end, and especially from you, Sean.
Yeah.
If anytime that you do your streaming or you do your meeting with David, I might need the transcription of the meeting so that I'll be able to know where we at, what are your expectations are.
Yeah.
So that's one. And I just want to confirm if we need to meet every single day of the catch-up call, 15 minutes, or you just need on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or twice a week.
Yeah.
So
I think that it'll be good for me and David to talk, but you can be handling like important stuff. So don't worry about the call. I think Monday is a good time for you. But like I literally want to keep this meeting to 5 minutes for you, since you have a life and stuff to do. So I'll be getting you all of that. One of the main reasons for the system is also to handle getting translations, because especially India is the biggest market for YouTube. So I want to have videos that aren't just translated in terms of text, but like actually have Hindi translations of my videos. I think that would be a really cool differentiator. So that's one of the main purposes of the system. So for you, Elsie, to kind of get back to it, I'll give you that list of 40 people. So the most important thing is to have all of those people subscribed on YouTube. That's the only thing that you have to worry about. and that's just an email task. So I think that's it for you. I don't want you to have to stay on any longer if you don't want to. So then, David, you can update me and the people on YouTube, but you don't have to. Elsie, you can drop if you want to.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
So here's my update from a few hours ago, so not too much. I've started working a little bit more with Dapr docs, just for me, just reading them, understanding them, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Specifically working a lot more with Sidecar, because I don't think that was something I really knew about before.
Right.
And working with moving that stuff over to Google Cloud. It's so far been pretty easy. I'm honestly just looking at the prompts, putting it in, and so far I haven't run into any issues. It's built pretty well. The one thing I've noticed is GPT 4.0 has a lot of prompts that have been depreciated and whatnot. So that's something that I think I need to just get better at, just throwing in the docs to begin with. And kind of when I know a prompt's depreciated, I'm just going to tell them ChatGPT that, and it generally fixes it. The other thing you mentioned, if we want to start putting videos on I don't know if you want to make a separate India version of Sean Chatman or whatever. But I know 11 Labs, because I was working with it for something I was doing over the weekend.
Yeah.
I know 11 Labs has a pretty good translate and then push it to like a local voice type system. So that might be worth looking into when we have a little bit of time after this week.
Yeah, no, I want it to just be one channel. The thing is that I want to have it be just a meeting place of the entire world. And so I think for me, the way that I want to treat the algorithm is that as much random stuff that's still on point, we can combine. It's perfect. So you might have missed it, but I was talking about like if Kendrick Lamar wants to come on and talk about AI and DSPy, he's totally welcome. And so that means that people searching for Kendrick Lamar and DSPy end up on my channel, perfect.
Okay. That makes sense. And then I guess over time that will just grow into an audience of people that are interested in you, which is I guess what we want. So yeah, it's just extending the growth period we're going to have. So that's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, we're up to like 4 people watching on YouTube right now, which is awesome. Yeah. And I think, one of the things I wanted to shout out is David is an awesome YouTube automation manager. If you're looking to hire somebody, I know he's not cheap, but he's worth it. So definitely, feel free to reach out to me to get in contact with him. He's been doing a great job. We're already up to 20 subscribers, and that we only been doing this for like 5 days. So I'm sure that is a high amount for something as specific as what we're doing. I'm also going to be looking at, there's another number that I wanted to point out that was really interesting to me, is that our average watch duration is 20 minutes. Which I'm sure is a lot considering what most people.
I literally had that in our notes for earlier, and I didn't get to it. We have extremely high user attention. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then also one of the things that I noticed that was pretty cool is in terms of like the likes and dislikes proportion, it's all 100%, which I figure even if with a small sample size, is pretty interesting. And our converting code to DSPy modules video has 65 views. So in terms
that's the thing, everything's just like every next video is double the views of the previous video.
Yeah, and I mean,
so that's really good.
And like my live stream on June 8th already has 49 views, right? Mm-hmm. So like this stuff is, I think, compelling, and it's just so different. But the other thing about it, and this is if you're watching, especially Paolo's been kicking ass, writing comments and stuff. So I want to shout him out. If Paolo, you want to be a part of the team meeting, just reach out to me. I think you've earned it. So that's cool. But yeah, I think that this is like interesting stuff. And that, the thing about the way that I'm developing is I'm showing stuff not working. I'm showing the like really complex stuff. I'm talking about my philosophy. So it really is, I haven't seen any content where people are doing the raw, heavy stuff. They're all trying to do polished. So we're just coming at it from a different angle. So
yeah, and that's cool. It also, I think the difference between you and a lot of the other YouTube people out there is you have, I don't want to put a number to it, but a lot of experience working in software eng. So a lot of the time you don't really realize how much you're sharing when you're just showing people your process. That's what I think I mentioned to you when you had your Loom channel.
Yeah.
It was really cool just to see how you operated and just see how your experience kind of goes to that, because I don't have the same experience. So it was really cool to see that.
Well, and another thing is I used to work at MySpace. So and this was before Facebook was public, or I mean available. You had to have a college email to get on Facebook back then. So I was at the birth of all of this stuff. So ever since 2006, 2007, I've just been watching people interact in a world that I created or was a part of creating, from the architecture standpoint, not just from the like, oh yeah, I'm a coder working on MySpace. Like I was working on heavy architecture. I worked on a chat system that never saw the light of day, but it would have been pretty groundbreaking if MySpace had had chat in it. But we couldn't support the load. It was back in 2006, 2007. Fucking Internet Explorer version 3.1 can roast in hell, by the way. Small.
Yeah, we should do a one day. We should do like a story time walk through your LinkedIn page or resume or something.
Sure.
I think it'd be cool to just have all these stories up there.
Oh yeah, well, and controversial standpoints on things that are so out of date. So like I said,
internet clip those and make some great shorts too.
Yeah. So whoever made the security for Internet Explorer 3.1, you can go to wherever. So anyway. I don't want to hold you up. I want to keep the team meeting short. So unless you need anything from me, I think we've covered it, and you can get back to work and I can get back to work.
Perfect. I'm all good.
Awesome, man. All right.
See you later.
See you. And so again, one more time, if you're looking for somebody to help you out with your YouTube automation, David isn't cheap, but it's worth it. So feel free to reach out to me if you want to get in touch with him. He's building this automation stuff with me, so you can see what's about to be happening. All right. Anyway, we're working on the set project. So we got the projects, the list, answers, config project. Okay. Yeah. Config.I project ID, config.save. So let's go back to config.save. .save. We need to have config. Yeah, perfect. And actually, we'll work on this. No, we want to have this in place. So let's think about it differently, right? So let's think about the read write of the config. Oh shit, I gotta go. Sorry guys, I gotta run. My wife and I are gonna be resource parents, so I gotta get like dressed and stuff like that. Somebody's coming at our place at 2. So I'm gonna have to sign out, and I'll see you guys later.